Tay Lee with Golden Saigon. Welcome on the Business Brief.
Thank you.
It's so good to be with you with all this great food in front of us, Tay.
Thank you for having us.
Gosh, the restaurant industry is such a tough industry to be in. I always just can't, I'm so amazed by those who run restaurants. And Golden Saigon is a family-owned restaurant, so
Correct.
you very much have a stake in the game. You're not some big corporate chain. But nonetheless, there are a lot of challenges that folks go through in running a business. How is business going these days for a family-run business and restaurant like Golden Saigon?
Well, I'd have to say we've been extraordinarily fortunate. And I think a lot has to do with our relationship with the community, how we started, how we've maintained our business. The support has been astounding. And even when we were closed, we received so many, during the pandemic shutdown, the mandatory shutdown, the amount of phone calls and support we received, even people asking to give us donations to keep us open. The support has been unbelievable, something we have never seen or experienced, and just so grateful of. Business at this time is fortunately better than ever.
Yeah, that's great. You know, and I hear so many great stories about how with the advent of technology and allowing people to order out now, getting their food delivered to their doorstep, I assume that was a big part of helping keep the business going through this pandemic. But are you seeing customers return in bigger and bigger numbers now that we're kind of getting on the other side of the pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we're actually having waits for our dinner rushes and so forth.
That means the food must be really good because people want to get in here and have some of it.
Absolutely.
So speaking of which, Tay, tell us a little bit about the dishes that we got in front of us.
Yeah, so what we have in front of us, start off, there's a Cantonese seafood, the fried, the noodles.
Okay.
We have Vietnamese egg rolls and the fried shrimp that you actually, as an appetizer, can wrap and dip into a sauce.
Okay. And that's here, right here?
Yeah, it's definitely a different format than what you may be accustomed to
Right.
with just a sweet and sour sauce. It's actually a wrap with a lot of, the noodles, the vegetables that you can add on to it and enjoy as one. We have our newer dish, this salmon salad by request.
Salmon salad, okay.
With the fish sauce-based dressing. And we also have our mussels, the grilled mussels, one of our more popular appetizers, along with, of course, crab cheese wontons. There's quite a bit of appetizers, but this in particular is one of our fancier, tastier options. And then we had to include it, but it's not very traditional Vietnamese, but since everything is made from scratch, sesame chicken. It's our take on sesame chicken.
Sesame chicken, okay.
So from the breading to the way we cut the chicken breast to the actual sauce itself, everything is made from scratch.
Wow.
So it should be a little bit of a different sesame chicken, orange chicken that you may be accustomed to.
Gotcha. Now, what are you most known for here at Golden Saigon?
Well, it is a Vietnamese restaurant, so our Vietnamese dishes, a lot of our pho, the rice bowls, noodle bowls, things like that. But with the Chinese fusion and a little bit of fusion added in, a lot of these dishes are proving quite popular, and a lot of people are very specific to their dishes here that we've created. And so it's hard to say which one's the most popular, but what we're known for, Vietnamese restaurants. So.
For sure. I love pho. That's one of my favorite, actually. So, all right, Tay, moving on. So, we talk to a lot of businesses on the Business Brief, different industries, many restaurants. We hear a lot of issues, challenges these days with supply chain or finding enough people to work. What are some of the challenges you all in a family-owned restaurant, Vietnamese restaurant here in Aurora, what are some of the challenges you guys are kind of continuing to deal with these days?
We've been very fortunate. We're hearing a lot of shortages in the workforce. We're family run. A lot of our siblings are involved in the operation, so we've been fortunate where we're still able to, even though we are short-staffed, still able to maintain operations. The biggest challenge to us today is our rising food costs, and it's visible.
Right.
Every bill, it's going up. And we see it by the dollar amount rather than by cents in pounds. And that's in the meats and the vegetables. So with that, our goal is to we have to be a profitable business, but we don't want to make a killing off of an individual. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So that's our main challenge.
Rising costs. Inflation
costs.
is really getting to a lot of folks. I really hear you, which I think is a good segue into my last question for today's business brief today is that, I get it, right? Kenny and I go to a lot of restaurants and, we see the effects of inflation on the cost of our meals. And increasingly, we are experiencing certain restaurants who add on a fee or surcharge to cover additional costs or to quote unquote pay their staff better. Obviously, sometimes I have questions on why wasn't the cost of my meal just adjusted to account for these added costs. But you all are running your business day to day. You're dealing with inflation. You're dealing with the effects of the pandemic. Are you all charging additional fees or surcharges? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
We are not charging surcharges. With our challenge of rising costs, we believe in adjusting it and being more reactive than proactive towards anticipation of rising costs. And the reason for this is we realize that, such as us, when we go out to eat dinner, we're looking for the entire experience. Not only the food has to be great, not only the service has to be, exceptional in our opinion, to go out, spend our money where we can really reproduce this, try and copy the recipe and reproduce it at home. But this experience overall, there's an additional element that seems to be not considered, and it's also the cost of your experience. If it's outrageous and it devalues your experience, doesn't matter how delicious the food is how we see it.
Right.
So for that reason, we're very reactive to prices increasing, meaning when we see it go up, that is when we will adjust our menus and we will announce it to our people. But you'll see, we don't like to necessarily kind of do a surprise fee where a surcharge at the end.
Yeah.
You'll know, and for the reason most of our customers have been dining with us, goodness, for decades. We give everybody a chance, to see it and ask up front, and they will. Why, prices have gone up, food must have gone up,
right,
for some of those, and it is absolutely the case. But rather than being proactive towards increasing prices, we take the approach of being reactive, so that we can more maximize that experience.
Yeah. So you adjust your prices as your costs go up accordingly. So instead of charging us a fee or a surcharge, you just adjust, you just accommodate as you go, and you make sure you're transparent in providing that information to your customers so they know
absolutely.
Why and what's happening with the cost of their food. And what I really love about what you said is how, the cost of a meal, we all love good food, but the cost of the meal does absolutely have a relationship with your experience, right? No matter how good food may be, when you look at that bill and you're like, gosh, it was great, but I really didn't know that they were going to add on whatever, that can change the experience and your likelihood to want to go back, So I really appreciate you all here at Golden Saigon taking into consideration, your approach to fees, or not approach to fees, but adjusting your cost of your goods, but also your food, but also, that customer, that diner experience. So Tae Lee with the Lee family here at Golden Saigon, thank you so much for coming on the Business Brief. Let's get to this food.
It's been wonderful. Thank you for having me.
You got it.